Honestly, I've been on some other streams, and I think we need to have like some sort of bumper intro. If anybody wants to contribute to that, I do have something ready to go, but just have not had the time to put it in. But this is Open Source Friday. It's a time for us to talk to open source maintainers about their project. I have the chat open, so definitely let me know if their volumes or levels they're good, or if they're not good, I can adjust. If you have questions about the project we're talking about today, feel free to drop in the chat. Also, a reminder: if you got the pop up on the chat, code of conduct it's full in force, so please be respectful, respect our guests, respect our other folks in chat, and let's all have a great time. But speaking of great time, I'm gonna have a great time with our guests, which is Iffy. Iffy, why don't you introduce yourself if folks aren't familiar with you and what you do and what you maintain?
Hey everyone, so my name is Iffy and I am an open source developer. I'm a developer and I happen to do some open source work. And the project I'm here to discuss, the project I've been working on maybe for the last year, is called remirror. So it's kind of like a really, a really ambitious text editor built on top of ProseMirror for React and actually supports multiple frameworks, although right now React is the focus.
Yeah.
So, but we've got like React Native in the works. So you can deploy the same editor to React as you do to your mobile apps as well. So yeah, it's exciting times. Awesome. So last time we spoke, I couldn't show you a demo, and the reason I couldn't show you a demo was it was still in just being worked on a lot of things, and the development approach I've taken probably isn't the best, but this is my first open source project, so a lot of it was just discovering, okay, what works for me, how do I. Yeah, so this is an intro. Like I will, if you're interested in contributing to projects on GitHub, this will actually be great for you because I'm going to go through some of the tips on how to contribute to remirror, some of the maybe issues you can pick up on. I'm just responding to one of the things. So, but yeah, remirror is a project for building text editors. So say, for example, you wanted to build your own Google Docs, or you wanted to build maybe something simpler, a chat app that has mentions, or a markdown text editor, or an editor that just exports, that gives people a visual representation of what they're typing, but allows them to export it to markdown. The remirror is just like a toolkit for you. And if you're using React, you're going to love it. If you're not using React, you may not love it as much, but we will love it soon. So that's in the works. It's already cross-platform. There is no reason why React is the only one you can use. The only thing is I've focused mainly on React because that's my forte. It's better to start what you know, and then roll out afterwards. So yeah, so I guess I could jump into just showing you some of the code, and this is like really basic stuff. So what we want to do now, we want to add some UI to the editor, and again, so this remirror React comes to the rescue. So in remirror React, we're gonna add. So firstly, we're gonna add some extensions to make this possible. And I'm just like finding the extensions I need. So I'm just quickly looking at what extensions I need for this. Okay, so here I would say let's just keep it really simple. So let's say so underline, italic, whatever thing should we add? Any other extensions you would be interested in seeing?
Strike
let's
through.
say heading.
Is strike through something
heading.
that's
Yeah,
an extension?
Strike through. Yeah, strike through is a strike extension. What else is there? There's bidirectional extensions. So you can actually, like, if you need to support languages, you can say, okay, bidirectional extension will automatically look at the language you're using and set the direction of the editor to what it needs to be. Whatever extensions are there. There's an annotation extension, which is used like one of our contributors added this. And it's so good. Actually, one of the sponsors added it. It's such a good extension. It's really, really like advanced. So I can show that to you if I have time later. There's an emoji extension, which actually, in fact, let me put the emoji extension in.
So the emoji extension is like one of the things that were the aha moment for me when you showed how easy it was to create that functionality, because that feels like a feature that I would spend way too many weeks trying to build myself. But when you showed that off last time, that was what sort of got me hooked.
Yeah. So hopefully we get time to look at that. So new heading extension. So let's just start like with the basics. And what we want to do, we want to add like a top menu to this editor. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, so what I'm going to do I'm going to say, okay, so I'm going to, so this is going to be a bit difficult because I'm not doing this with TypeScript. So it may look like I'm just doing a bit of magic. So let's say, but it's not magic. It's just good, hopefully good code.
Yeah.
So
we trust you.
Yeah. So also let's add a history extension. So history adds support for undo and history extension. Some of the extensions are already included by default in core. So let's add, so const toolbar, and then equals. So we're going to create an array of like what we want for it. I'm just going to copy and paste it in just because if you're using TypeScript, this kind of is just like really easily done for you. And maybe I'll show it to you in TypeScript after. But so it's like just configuration. You just configure what you want, and it should just work. So so component item. So from remirror React, we can start adding like. So okay. So what we've done here? Let me just tell you what we've done here. We have like each toolbar has like a type. So and let me just add it before I show you. So each, like, we've just configured and said, okay, I want to add a history. So a history undo and redo. So like the label here saying, okay, this toolbar is a grouping, and it's going to be, we're going to call it history. So like when you hover over it, you should see the history pop up, and it's going to have two commands, undo and redo. And the great thing about this is because the internationalization is built into remirror. So what this will do is that it looks at the command. Each extension can define the commands it makes available. And part of defining that, it can define the default icon that's used, and it can also define the default label. You can always override this, but if you want to use the defaults, you can just leave it like this. So this will just automatically fill out this information for you. Let me get rid of this tool because copy and paste actually isn't fun. So what we're going to do, we're going to add that to our toolbar extension. So let me just quickly get that going. So what we're going to do is going to be importing the toolbar extension, the toolbar component, from remirror React. So toolbar, which is just this toolbar, and we're going to use it in remirror. So within the context, we can get rid of this line. Within the context, because we need access to, like, we want our bold to have access to all the commands and stuff. So within the context, we can just say toolbar and say items equals. It's going to start breaking a bit. Toolbar and yeah, I think that's okay. That's it. Items equals toolbar, and that should give us something. Okay, for some reason it's yes. So okay, it's rendering below, and the reason it's rendering below is because I've said auto render. Okay, so anyway, you can see the toolbar is here. So if I start adding text and I say undo, it undoes.
Yeah.
So there's two issues here.
Real quick, Iffy, just to reiterate, your error message was blocking everything that was showing. So as you were adding it, folks probably weren't getting the correlation of what was happening. But as you're adding these components, they were actually showing up here.
Yes. So I added these components and they're showing up here. Yep. So for example, I can so just a number of things. So you can see as I hover, like I can see like the automatic labels that are given. Again, these are all fully so you can have full internationalization. So bold can be swapped out for whatever language. I have set up crowd in, but once I set up crowd in, if you set the language of the editor to French, it will show up in French. So this is all kind of built in by default with remirror. So let me get rid of separator. So for example, just by changing that, I've got rid of this little separator at the end. So with just the built-in stuff, you get a lot of functionality. The icons are using remix icon. So remix icon is this really cool library, and I've kind of like taken it. I've given them full attribution. So every time but like there's just a lot of great icons. So please start the repo. Check it out. It's a great library, and it's helped me a lot. So just a few things. So first, I can undo. I can make stuff bold. But notice one thing. So when I press bold, and then I start typing, I've lost focus. So one of the things that the toolbar, maybe this should be a default. Please, your suggestions are welcome. So one of the props is refocus editor. It's a Boolean. So if I say refocus editor, that means that by default, when I press a command, it will automatically refocus the editor. So now if I make this unbold and type, it knows to go back to the editor as soon as it's done whatever it's doing. It's just the standards that you expect. The second issue we have is that this is below, and I actually wanted it to be above the editor. Again, this is all styled with CSS. I'm not going to go into styling. You can like literally override the CSS. What this component is doing is giving the default styles, but you don't have to include it. You can literally leave this out and then provide your own styles, or you can put it in and override your styles as you see fit. So this style component, I'm using emotion in this demo. So there's a version for emotion. There's also a style components version if you want to use style components, and there's also a DOM version if you just want to use a pure DOM. But since I'm using emotion, and if you want to use just pure CSS, you would say import. So you import from here at remirror styles, and then it's // all.css. So it just imports all the styles. So that's another way of doing it if your build system supports it. So I've tried to be as flexible as possible in terms of before we relied fully on emotion, but now emotion is just an option. You can use emotion if you use it or not. But so yeah, the other issue is that this is now rendering below. So we're just going to make it render above. And the way we do that is auto render. So by default, when you auto render, it does it. But let's get rid of auto render and let's show you let's quickly put in the editor component. So we have an editor component, which is kind of what is auto rendered when you auto render. But by importing it, you can actually decide where it goes. So we're going to say, actually, I want the auto render to be after the toolbar. So I want the editor component to come in after the toolbar. So
just wanted to sort of round up the conversation because we only have like 15 minutes left.
Sure.
We saw how to sort of integrate in Touch the Code Sandbox. I don't know if that link is available for folks to also jump into, or like how can they get their hands onto a demo?
So at the moment, if you go to the pull requests tab, so one of the things I've introduced, and this is going to be for contributors and for sponsors. So so the first pull request, the top one. Oh wait, no, not that one. Interesting. So this is again one of the new joiners who's helping is he's creating like FAQs and really doing some good work. So if you got beta release, I realized the bottom one, okay. My one automatically puts it at the top, so the most recent is at the top. But
okay, gotcha.
So if you scroll all the way to the bottom, so right down. So whenever a release happens on the PR, you have a sandbox. You can say open in sandbox for JavaScript or open in code sandbox for TypeScript. So that's the way you can get like the latest releases. Eventually that will be added to the README. Right now it's purely on the PR because so one thing I found in some projects when you so whenever a project is released, or like when a project sometimes like there's a change or a fix that's been done in a branch. Sometimes maybe the contributors are a bit slow to merge it in, or maybe there's other things that they need to sort out before they can merge it into the code base. But one of the things I want to offer, or I am offering now, is that if you see code that you want in a branch, you literally can just say, I want this to be published. And as soon as you publish it, it's available for you on NPM, and you can just use it. So if you look at the versions, so this is taking a long time because you're literally the first person to click this link. This is like literally was released like 10 minutes ago. So it's obviously doing it for the first time. But yeah, if you go above, if you scroll up one, keep scrolling up and click so keep going up until you see the next GIF. Yeah. So if you open in Sandbox, so go back down, open in Code Sandbox.
Got it.
This one should open quicker because I've opened it before. I think Code Sandbox caches some caching. This one is like instant almost. There's this is like an older version, but it kind of shows you.
That is really interesting, and I'm that's really awesome. I have so many more questions about how you're making this work because I see you're using GitHub Actions. So can we take a quick detour and check out your actions? Because I think this is a really good use case for actions.
Okay, so in workflows, I've got this publish PR. So if you go to just before publish pull request. So and I have to give thanks to one of my contributors, Okaview, has actually helped make this better. So before there was some potential bugs, and he added like I didn't know you could do inline JS. So we added this inline JS, which takes the ref and allow. He made it better. Let's just say.
Yeah. GitHub script is one of my favorite things to talk about, to be quite honest.
I had no idea. I was like mind blown. It's really cool. So what is happening? So this is so basically whenever a comment is posted. So if you type a /publish, if you scroll up just before the script. So whenever so it looks for the comment body in a pull request, and whenever publish is typed, and you're either an author, a contributor, and eventually I'll add sponsor as well. Right now, whenever someone becomes a sponsor and wants to do this, I just add them as a contributor. But if like whenever you're one of those things, it can process it, like it will say, okay, this is time to do a release. So if you scroll down, the release is using an internal action. So I do the installation, I build a project. So this is all normal stuff. That's just installing and auditing the dependencies, just to make sure you're not like adding any weird stuff to the build. And then so then the next one is to mutate the package.json file. So what I'm basically doing is, wait, what was it? If you scroll up, I think I've missed. Oh no, scroll down. Yeah, it is there.
Okay.
It is there. My bad. So the actions PM that installs it. And what? Yeah. Oh, this is the one. So this one uses an internal script, which is in /support /actions /PR. So if you go to that file,
it's in support.
Support, yeah.
And then
actions. And then PR. So if you go to source, don't go to PR, because this is like if you go to source and then you go to PR here. So it builds to that PR folder, but
just a quick script to
exactly
power the sort of printing to that PR.
Exactly. It takes the PR number and then just like does a release to npm for you. But I think it's so powerful because I've especially with mono repos, it's so like there's a fix that you just need this one fix, and it's just there sitting there in some branch someone's done, and you have no way of getting to it. So what this will allow is for I'm going to completely stop using pre-releases. This is how I'm going to do pre-releases. Pre-releases from now on will be a long-lived branch, maybe has the latest code, and once it's ready to be merged, it gets merged back in. Oh, can I also say, I know you work with GitHub. GitHub Actions is beautiful. It's like, I was saying before the call that I really believe GitHub is cornering the market in terms of just producing great developer tooling. Like the code spaces have been, my laptop sometimes starts lifting off. And I just found that if I use code spaces, I can code without having, I'm looking forward to getting a more powerful laptop, but I can code without having to worry about, the fans blowing up because it's kind of being done in the cloud. There's so many tools that GitHub is introducing that just really work well for developers, and yeah, I'm happy to. I just enjoy using it. Like I just enjoy your ecosystem.
Yeah, and I would say everybody click the sponsor link so that way if you can get a new laptop, so that way he doesn't have to worry about it taking off on him as well.
You've just spotted something. So one thing I'm also making a change to. So. Okay, so I guess some users aren't enrolled. So I should have checked before I did that. So one thing I've done, so anyone who's contributed to remirror in the last 6 months, I add them to the sponsors list, because I just feel like it's not just me who's working on this. So if you want to work on a project and want to have the opportunity to put it on your profile and be sponsored for literally come on, just like for me, the most important part of remirror isn't me and my code. Is actually like the community that's being built around it. I've been so impressed with some of the contributions. I've been so impressed. Benji's just been just amazing. He's there. Like if you want to sponsor him. Will Hawker is maybe a bit less well known in the community, but he's been doing some really good work. He's actually recently added a list checkbox extension. So I'm going to check over that next week and hopefully merge that in eventually. And there's also a few others that I put in, but I don't think they have sponsorship profiles yet, so that's why they're not showing up.
They might have to sign up for it to get access. So are you doing that manually? So when you get a contributor, are you then adding them to the sponsors list?
At the moment, I was going to also do it again. It's just, sometimes you automate too much. Right now there's not many, but I was going to do it so it will look to see anyone who's contributed in the last 6 months, just add them to that list. And so that's kind of what I want to have going.
Yeah, and that's super honorable for you to do that too as well. And it's also a great way to sort of big up the people who are helping to keep the project moving forward and supporting it as well. So like,
Yeah.
awesome idea. I'm pretty sure I'm going to actually talk to GitHub about this, the folks who are managing the sponsors program, because that's
Yeah.
a great feature that should be built into the platform, and it shouldn't be a manual thing.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I think can I
Yeah, go for it.
yeah, thanks, Brian, as well. Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say, like, Brian has been super helpful to me. He was one of my first sponsors, and he's just doing like a lot of good work in the community. Like this, like your channel is doing great, and like the stuff you're doing at GitHub, I'm just really in awe of people like you who just open doors for us. So I really appreciate you just like looking out for me and helping me on this journey. So thank you.
I appreciate the kind words too, and I'm just always trying to pay it forward. So that's what I do.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.